Awesome. I think we can start. Well, we have many has tuned in today. What happened? I thought hyper-casual was dead in 2021. Anyway, I'm Danielle. I'm the director of gaming at Supersonic, which basically means that my team and I get to play all the newest and hottest games before it gets to the market, and we get them ready to break the charts. So that's pretty cool, right? I'm super excited to be your host for today. We have a very fun program ready for you with top speakers. First up, we'll start with our Supersonic GM, Nadav Ashenazy. Nadav will tell you all about the publishing funnel, from ideation to testing and getting your game to the top charts. You'll also get a sneak peek for our live game platform, which we only launched 24 hours ago. So you're the first one to see. And that's a really a game changer in our industry as a whole. Up next is Ani Ben Yair, head of gaming at TikTok Israel. Ani will show you how to master your TikTok creatives to eventually soft and global launch your game in one of the strongest channels today for hyper casual. So, and if you have any questions, by the way, you know the drill, right? We dedicated an open Q&A time, especially for your questions. So don't be shy and ask some questions, and we'll get to it right after both sessions. Let's get started. I'm passing the mic on to Nadav. Nadav, go ahead.
Thanks. Cool. So what I'll try to touch in the next 30 minutes is the publishing funnel from the Supersonic perspective. But before we dive deep into the publishing funnel itself, I want to dedicate 4 slides specifically to Supersonic to share a little bit if you are not familiar with us. So far, we are an activity that is 1 year and 3 months old. We started Supersonic in the beginning of last year. Since then, we've published 27 games, 19 were published in 2020, and 8 more games in 2021 in the past 4 months since the year started. And today we are around of a 100-person team with growth manager that are doing the user acquisition, monetization experts, big creative team, publishing to work on your prototypes and get them to the market, game designers, R&D to build the best tools in the market, integration engineer, product. We will touch a bit of these in the next couple of slides, but this is Supersonic in general. Exciting thing to share is that in April, which ended a couple of days ago, Supersonic was the most downloaded publisher worldwide, iOS and Android combined, which is a great achievement for us. And I think that more interesting than that is to see the ratio between the number of games and the number of installs. You can see that although Supersonic was the most downloaded publisher with almost 100 million installs worldwide, iOS and Android combined, we did it with the lowest amount of apps, which in my eyes showed our ability to squeeze and maximize the growth and the scale of our published games. And we're going to touch it a little bit today. But yeah, this was April. If you don't know, by the way, we've started our second competition, the Superstars competition, a couple of days ago at the beginning of May, which will continue until the mid of June. And it's the competition with the highest prizes ever in the hyper-casual history, 200K minimum guarantee for every game published, or the first game that published as a result from the competition, and much more prizes for other winners. And the last slide before we start, which is also connected to some of the topics that are going to discuss today, is a little bit about Supersonic's value and what we try to bring to the table. And first, it will be the highest level of execution with everything that we're doing, whether it's user acquisition, monetization, publishing, game design, technology, products, platforms, everything that we've built, we try to bring it to the maximum level possible, and we're going to see some of it soon. We are very partner-focused and transparency. So for whoever is already working with us or published game with us, you probably understand what we try to do different in the market, but the level of partnership that we are able to build with our developers is something that's crucial here. And we are very data and tech savvy as part of ironSource, which is the biggest platform today for the app economy. We are also adopting this very data and tech savvy approach and try to productize and to build the most smartest and sophisticated tools out there. Then we're going to touch this a little bit as well. As for the agenda for my presentation, so I'm going to discuss the 4 different stages of the publishing funnel, from ideation and how do you pick the right idea, to the first test, then making it a full game, and of course scaling it to the maximum potential possible. Then Ani from TikTok is going to continue discussing the scale phase and how you scale your games with TikTok, which is a very natural continuation to this funnel and 4 stages I presented here. Let's start with ideation. We know that ideation and hyper casual being innovative and unique is super, super important. And many times this is what can make the difference. But before start innovating upon new and interesting concept, I think that one of the most important things is to understand what are the hottest trends today? What should I innovate upon? What is working? What is not working? We also know that the hyper casual industry is relatively young industry that is very, very dynamic and changing a lot, right? What worked well in 2019 is not what worked well in 2020. And what is working well in the beginning of 2021, the 4.5 months we've seen so far, is not exactly what worked well in 2020. So staying up with the up to date with the trends and the changes in the industry is crucial once you start your ideation process and before picking your idea for your next hit. So let's cover some of the new games, new hits that were launched in the 4.5 months of 2021 so far. And I'll take it subgenre by subgenre under the hyper casual umbrella. I'll start with the ASMR, right? A subgenre that all of you know. We saw 5 games that were launched and did and still do very, very well in terms of amount of installs. And we can assume that it converts into great profits. ASMR is ideas that based on a viral social media post or trend and usually require high level of execution in order to simulate this action in a very, very well execution. So 5 new games that are doing very, very well in 2021 under this subgenre, which continues to show interest in terms of users in 2021. Next one is mini games, relatively a younger subgenre that started in 2020 and still doing well in 2021. Here as well, we see 5 very successful games launched in 2021, which are mini games based, right? There is usually no one specific mechanic, right? Like mechanic of a runner game or a puzzle game that is the dominant mechanic in mini games based games. Usually it's a mix of several different mechanics that are all being connected with the right team. And the right team is probably the most important point in this subgenre, because picking the team that is well known, that people is connect to, this is what can bring the low CPI and then the great in-game metrics. But once you nail the right team, then building several interesting variety of mini games around it is something that is definitely doable. So we see that in 2021, mini games still being interesting with 5 new launches. They're doing very well. Puzzles, which were very, very strong in 2019 and 2020, got a little bit weaker in 2021 in terms of new games released to the market. I counted 4 successful launches. If you count Stacky Dash, which is not a clear puzzle, it's a mix of several things. But in general, we do see new puzzles go live, and we do see that they are doing well once they are nailing the right concept and the right game. And I think that the main thing is to make them enough fun as well. And this is what you can see in common for the new puzzle that were launched in 2021 so far. Then we have the first person action subgenre that actually growing in 2021 so far, right? 5 new games that scaled nicely this year. It's a very well-known camera perspective from the PC or console world. Usually the let's say the challenge with this kind of games is that the target audience will be a bit more limited, right? Usually a bit more male oriented and a bit more gamers oriented because of the similarities into a console or PC or others or shooters, etc. It just means that CPIs can climb a bit faster, but if you have a very strong LTV, then it's fine. But this is subgenre that is also seems to be doing quite well in 2021 so far. Then we have IO, which is a very, very old and used subgenre that seems like growing more than previous years, right? In 4.5 months, we see at least 4 successful games under the IO umbrella going live and scaling nicely, which shows that maybe this subgenre has more potential to squeeze and to act upon. Then we have this, I don't know if it's a new trend, but it's 1 versus 1 push-based games, right? We see 2 successful games by Voodoo that worked under this concept, and we see several more in prototyping phase by different developers and publishers around the world. And I think that this is an interesting trend to follow that might grow furthermore in 2021 and might be a leading trend in 2021, but let's see how the year continues. Then we have the platformers that started in 2018 with Flip the Bottle, then Mr. Slice in 2020, and 2 strong games in 2021, Slice It All and Sticky Flip, that are working on the transition and progression, usually have side view of game that also looks in interesting trend in 2021 as well. And probably the biggest subgenre in 2021 is the runners, right? For a reason you see here so many runners, and it's not all of them, right? If you want to count, there are at least 15 to 20 new runners released in 2021 and generated already millions of installs. It's for sure by far the most dominant subgenre in the hyper casual world in the past 4.5 months in 2021. And we can discuss why, but in general, what we see that is common usually is that runners evolved from a simple navigation against obstacles to a secondary mechanic of collecting some resource and then losing it or using it and then collect it again, etc., with another mechanic. But we will touch why, but it's definitely the strongest trend that we see. And another thing to follow here is the feminine themed that was very, very strong on ASMR games for at least 2-3 years, from nail games to hair games and many, many different type of ASMR games that were launched since 2019, 2020, and 2021. What we've seen is that this themed got very, very strongly into the runners world, right? High heels was the first, but since high heels, you're probably every week or so seeing a new runner with a new feminine theme that is doing very, very well. And we can also see that the CPIs and the in-game metrics are looking well. And I also think that it actually grew the potential target audience of runners to all genders and to more people, which is a great thing. And this is exactly what we try to do in hyper casual. So this is also a very, very, very emphasized trend that we see in 2021 so far. Let's try to summarize what we discussed here. So far in 2021, we've seen new hits for many different subgenres. And I think that it's an important point because many, many times studios speak with us and they tell us, okay, what subgenres should I focus at? Should I build ASMR? Should I build puzzles? Should I build runner or a mini games? And the actual answer is that there is no only one subgenre that is working. You've just seen that almost in all hyper-casual subgenres, new games launched in 2021 scaled and doing very, very well. It means that you shouldn't limit yourself to one subgenre, but you can understand that with the right theme, with the right concept, with the right execution, there is a room in any subgenre, and this shouldn't be the only thing that impacts your ideation. Having said that, we do see that runners are running the strongest, right? So we can discuss why. It might be because the development investment for runners is a bit more minor, right? Once you are building your template, your code, it's easier to test several different themes upon this code and template versus puzzles, which each prototype requires this investment. So maybe it's easier to test more. It's probably because of the connection to the feminine theme that increased the target audience. But anyway, we see that it's running the strongest. And this is definitely, if you think you have the right skills, it's definitely a subgenre that's worth experimenting with, since we see so many great games with low CPI around this subgenre. And feminine themed games, which we discussed, and from ASMR that was dominated for a couple of years, moved into runners. What's next, right? What's other combination of feminine themed game with I don't know if it's a first person or IO or many, many different things. What will be the next combination that will work? The charts is also something to innovate upon and to experiment with. So to summarize a little bit the ideation part, first of all, always start with market trends. Always start with understanding what is working well. What should I concentrate around? It will give you higher likelihood to find your hit. Then you can use several methodologies, right? Whether it's to innovate a mechanic or team under an existing trend. Maybe it's merging 2 elements of 2 different games, matching the right team with the right game or evolution of existing concept. I'll show a few examples, but I think that one of the most important things is that pick a subgenre that fits your skills, right? If you have super high level of art and execution, then ASMR is definitely an option. If not, I would recommend to avoid ASMR, because even if you will nail a concept, it will be very hard to bring the execution. So you understand the point. One of the considerations in your ideation process is what your studio skills or what you are dominating the best at, and you believe that you can bring the best product at. It definitely should be an important factor in your decision making. A little bit about the different strategies we can take. So merging elements, right? We've seen it with Cube Surfer, roof rails, and high heels. That is actually taking the mechanic of each one of them and combined it into one game, whether it's Aquapark, Stay Run, and Shortcut Run, that again, doing something similar and combining two elements from two different games, two different successful games into a new successful game that can accommodate both of them, whether it's taking a concept and match it with the right theme, right? Runners and the feminine team that is doing very, very well, or maybe it's evolution of concept that is working already well, and now you take it to V2, to the next level, you're adding progression, movement, but something that you already know that brings low CPI, that brings, that generates interest in the target audience. All of this can help you coming up with your next idea for a hit. So this was few slides about the ideation process. Now let's discuss the second step. After you picked your idea, you picked what you want to build, you're going into the first test. And one of the main things that we always recommend to do is to generate lean MVP. What we need is a clear gameplay, clear team, and this is it. You shouldn't invest too much in your MVP, and this is an important comment because most of you are already experienced in the hyper casual world and you know it, and I'm probably not refreshing anything for you, but we know that the very basic of hyper casual is to nail the CPI, right? Because even if your in-game metrics and engagement of the player is amazing, you will not get to $10 LTV from paying users, etc. Meaning that low CPI is one of the fundamental bricks of hyper casual in order to generate significant profit, right? And in order to, and it's very, very hard to predict what team will be will bring a strong CPI, because many times from the publishing manager eyes, from the developer eyes, this game looks trendy, this concept looks cool, but then we see that the CPI is not as low as we thought, because the only way to understand whether this game is really marketable toward very, very large audience, and the hyper casual audience is female, male, young, adults, everyone, is only by testing and looking at the data. Under this background, we all understand that 98% of the tests will not meet the CPI benchmark. And this is why you should limit your investment, and it's better to test more directions or more concepts than investing in building 30, 40 levels with very high level of art on the MVP and then wasting your time for nothing. What we're always looking for first is indication of marketability. We can say that 95% of what we care about in the first test is what the CPI. We do look for indication of the user engagement, right? Although usually it's very limited amount of levels, you can still see if the gameplay is very addicting, even with limited amount of levels, you can still see interest of users and engagement, good engagement of users. But again, it's not very, very important. And even if the in-game metrics won't be that strong on the first test, we don't care about it that much. What we want to understand is how probably the game can be marketable and scale. And fail quick and be persistent is probably the best thing that we can do around it, with believing in the process. I know how frustrating it can be, but I think that if you are working according to the phases that we decided, and you believe in the process, and you are making the right decision according to this understanding, it's a matter of time until you are nailing your hit. And another thing that it's related to the runners that we said before, but it can fit to other subgenres as well, is to try several teams with the same template we've built. So if you already built a code, a template that helps you to deliver a prototype, you can try several different teams with this code and then increase your probability to find the one that is going to be appealing in terms of marketability. This was step 2. Step 3, after seeing interesting marketability potential, and we are only continuing into step 3 if the marketability shows interest. The most important thing in my eyes is remember your target audience. And the target audience of hyper casual is everyone especially non-gamers, especially people that don't play games on console or web or on PC or everywhere. And this is one of the most common mistakes of new studios in the hyper-casual world, because even if they nail the CPI, they might build a game that is too complicated, because from the developer eyes, from the artist eyes, from the game designer eyes, it feels easy, but he needs to remember that the target audience is very, very different than us, and you need to make your game easy to digest, easy to understand, satisfying, generates positive feelings, and not too challenging. People are not looking to challenge themselves too much when playing hyper-casual. Then rely on data as much as possible, level drops, retention, playtime, design events, A/B test. We want the data to dictate our processes. We can't rely on data with everything. We have to take decisions based on intuition. This is why we are game designers. This is why we are artists. This is why we are in this profession. And we want to combine our intuition that allows us to move fast, because if everything will be based on data, it will take us 6 months to build a hyper-casual game. So we use our intuition, but we always try to get feedback every 2-3 weeks. We want to get a feedback from the users and make sure that the data is backing up our intuition. And this leads to one of the most important things, how much you balance between production speed and perfection, right? We all want to build the perfect game, but the balance and the sweet balance is a very sensitive point, because if you will look for the most perfect game in the world, it might take you 6 months, and the CPI won't be low anymore, or a clone will come out, or anything can happen. On the other hand, you don't want to release a game with low in-game metrics that will have a low LTV, and then the profit will be limited. So you need to balance between these two. There is no magic point, but using common sense, understanding, discussing it together, consulting together, publishing, developer, what do you think? When should we move to the next phase in order to balance well between these two interests? And always keep in mind variety of content, good sense of reward, and progression. Player psychology while building the game is also crucial. Every game is answering a different user needs and a different user feelings. And while building your game, you need to remember, okay, what type of feelings, what type of experience do I want to build among my users? And this is what, this should be the vision and dictate your vision of the game, and how you build it in terms of level of difficulties, in terms of features, in terms of anything within your game. Step 4, growing your game, right? So we picked the right concept. We did the first test. Marketability was good. We moved into step 3. We built the full game around this concept. In-game metrics looks good. We are feeling well in terms of speed and perfection balance, and we are moving into the soft launch, global launch phase. The goal of the growth and scale phase is 1, maximum profit. And this is also an important comment. Many times developers ask, will my game get to number 1 in the charts or whatsoever? And what I can say is that it isn't an interesting goal for us. Getting to be number 1, of course, it's a very, very blessed outcome, and we are happy to get there, but this is not what we are optimizing toward. What we are optimizing toward is to gain maximum profit. If we get to the top of the chart, it's just a good sign, because it means that we get many, many users with a profitable buying, which means significant profits. Now, step 4 is combined of 2 different worlds that are very, very different from each other. One will be the user acquisition side, and one will be the LTV side, and it will always be the balance between CPI and LTV. This is what generates this profit. On the user acquisition side, we are not going to discuss it today, because we can invest probably 2 hours only discuss how to do user acquisition. But I would say that it boils down into 3 different worlds. 1, what is your strategy and best practices per each network or media source, right? Most of the publishers are using several different media sources while growing their games. And every media source is very, very different from the other in terms of a campaign structure, in terms of launching strategy, in terms of many, many things. And understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each media source is crucial. Ani soon is going to speak about TikTok perspective. In that sense, having granular bidding and data take best decisions, this is what Supersonic is doing the best. How granular, how accurate are you? How well are you predicting the LTV? Because you need to make a decision today, what will be the CPI, predicting what will be the LTV of this specific user that you are buying from this country, this OS, this media source, this sub-source within the media source. This is not an easy tests to do. And as your technology is better in terms of predicting LTV, in terms of managing bidding, in terms of getting as granular as possible on your user acquisition, probably your scale and margins are going to be better and better. And creative, you all know how creative crucial. Finding the right creative can be equal to improving the LTV by 50% in terms of profit contribution. Creative is one of the things that we invest the most at Supersonic. We have a huge team around creatives from all kinds, from videos to interactive end cards to playables on all different infrastructures that you can imagine. And these all components are part of the user acquisition effort, which is usually what the publisher needs to do the best, because it's 100% the responsibility of the publisher. This is what you expect the publisher to dominate and control on the best way possible. Then you are moving into the other side of the equation, which is maximizing your LTV. And this is, unlike the user acquisition, needs to be a joint effort between the developer and the publisher. And I'm going to touch a bit how we are doing it here at Supersonic. But before we dive deep into how to optimize your LTV or how we recommend to do it, a little bit about benchmarks and what you should expect. So important comment, once launching a game, or definitely in the prototyping phase, it's very, very hard to understand whether this game is going to be tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 game, right? Your marketability power is only in one media source, either it's Facebook or a different media source where you did the testing phase. And based on retention pattern, it's very, very hard to understand. Also, we see that profit is coming in 1 or 2 years, so it's very hard to predict whether the trend will be existed in a couple of months or no. So trying to predict and say, hey, this game will be tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 is very, very hard. Of course, that as the numbers are better, meaning CPI is lower and in-game metrics are higher, the chances to be tier 1 is higher. And as you are compromising on more factors, the probability to be tier 3 is higher. But in general, it's very hard to predict it. I put here among the almost 30 games that Supersonic launched since starting the activity a bit more than a year ago. I can say that about 1/4 is tier 1, 1/4 is tier 3, and half of our games fall into tier 2. But this is the amount of profit that a game should be generating in 1 year time, or a bit more than a 1 year time after launching the game. And this is the goal that we have in mind when we're publishing the game. Now let's go back to the LTV side and how we do it in Supersonic. So I don't know if you followed, but yesterday, Supersonic launched a new product. We call it the live games product. And the goal of this product is exactly to maximize the LTV of the game upon other missions. And I want to go back to the slide that I presented a couple of minutes ago. What are Supersonic values? Because I think that the live games product that we've launched yesterday is a combination of these three words. Highest level of execution, and because bring the highest LTV falls under this bucket, partner focus and transparency, and data and tech savvy. And this game needs to serve all these values. And our mission of this live games product is, first of all, transparency into the performance of your published game. And I think if we look at that all today, transparency in the prototyping phase is about the same between different partners, and it's good, right? You get probably good transparency into the videos, CPI, retention, playtime, etc. But there is big difference what happens once the game is published. And giving you transparency into this phase, which is probably the phase that you've been waiting for, right? You have been working 2 years, you have been testing 200 prototypes in order to get to this point, and now you should get transparency into the performance of the game once you publish it. And this is part of our white box approach. Second mission of this product is to give you crucial insights to better optimize your published game and maximize its potential together. If you remember, I said user acquisition is the territory of the publisher. It's our responsibility in Supersonic to be the best in the world in creative, in bid management, in understanding the strategy of each media source. But the LTV side is a joint effort, and we are doing it together. And we believe that if you will see the data, and if you will understand how the data looks like, and why, and what impact each phase in the funnel, then together we'll be able to bring a better execution and higher LTV. And the third option and the third mission of this tool is for you to better understand the publishing world and take your studio skills to the next level, whether you are aspiring to become a self-published company in the future, or maybe you just want to understand how monetization works when you work on your next game 2 months from today, this is the way to do it. The live games product we've released is consisted of 3 different sections: finance sections, analytics section, and AB section. There is nothing crucial in the finance side, right? What we give you is a visibility into all the finance numbers of your game. On the analytics side, what we have is actually, when we've built the analytic side, we look at the LTV funnel and we look at 3 different layers, right? First of all, we look at the player engagement, right? How the user engage with your game. What is the retention? What is the playtime? What is the accumulated playtime? We gave it a new term, APAPU. We will discuss it privately when we get to this phase. But how well your player engaged with the game. The second layer will be how well your ad strategy is and how well you integrated ads in order to maximize the long-term ad potential in your game. And then this is what gives you the ARPU. And when you build these bricks one over each other in the best way possible, you are maximizing the ARPU. And this is also how we've built our live games analytics report. We actually have 3 different layers of analytics: player analytics to understand what happens and what is the engagement of your users within the game, then ads analytics to understand several different metrics of how well the ads are integrated into your game, and of course, ARPU analytics to understand what is the result. This is the goal, right? We want to maximize ARPU, we want to maximize LTV. This is what we need to understand the most. You can see the different dashboards, and I'm not going to do a full demo because every studio that published with us get, of course, a full demo, and we are doing this together, and we understand this platform together, and we are going one by one. But this level of filtering, the ability to see all the data with media source filtering and media source breakdown, and understand how the users from Facebook look like, how the users from Google look like, how the users from ironSource look like, how the users from United States versus Canada versus many, many different countries, how many users do I have for each country, what is their ARPU on IAP, on ads, how the ad engagement looks like, what is my ads frequency, many, many important factors that help you to maximize your LTV. And then what happens with your game, the users that bring from Google campaigns, what is their APAPU, playtime, retention, APAPU, we will discuss it in the future. Then we have the third part, which is the A/B testing. A/B testing is something that we live upon once moving into soft launch, because in that point of time, from now on, everything is based on data, and all significant changes in the game are being A/B tested, including several other questions. And our goal is one, to make changes that increase the LTV, the ARPU. If the change doesn't increase the ARPU, then this change is not welcomed. And this is how we do in this section. Everything is self-serve, visible and transparent into the developer that published with us in order to maximize the potential of your game together. This was the publishing funnel from ideation to first test to full game to scale. This is how we do it in Supersonic. This is how we did it with almost 30 games in the past year. And this is what we plan to do moving forward, and only to improve and get it done better. Thank you so much for attending. Super exciting day for us. Ani, I'll give you the mic.
Awesome, Nadav. Thank you so much for that. That was super insightful and inspiring. Yeah, and I already see some questions in the chat, so we'll get to that right after Annie's session. In the meantime, up next is Ani Ben Yair, head of gaming at TikTok Israel. Fun fact, Annie used to work with us at ironSource. She's an ironSource veteran. Annie, it's great having you here, and let you take it away from here.
Thank you, Danny, and welcome everybody to the, let's call it, to the international event, Supersonic and TikTok. So yes, I'm an ex-ironSource and kind of feel at home. Nadav, thank you for the insightful information about hyper-casual growth, or from ideation to an actual game. I'm going to speak about the growth path of hyper-casual on TikTok. I know TikTok is a new channel. There is a lot of discussion of how to do it, what are the products you can utilize when thinking about user acquisition, and how you get to mix TikTok into your strategy. So a bit on the agenda, I'm going to intro to TikTok for those whoever doesn't know TikTok yet, about creative strategy, We're going to speak about how to launch with TikTok within the various products that we have. And we're going to speak about practices and benchmarks. The vision in general is our product solution designed to match advertisers with the right audience, different touch points, because we have different products among TikTok and using the power of a community. I'm going to speak a lot about the growing community of hyper casual on TikTok. So stay tuned on that. I want to speak a bit about, everyone knows that TikTok is a global company. We have hundreds of offices globally, but I wanted to say that the Israeli office launched March of 2020. I was actually the first TikToker to join on ground, so super excited on that. We are 1 year old and 50 TikTokers and growing. Just wanted to mention that we are a small office, but with big achievements, and we have an amazing cooperation or collaboration with Supersonic around hyper casual and gaming. And I will speak a bit about what we're doing together and the opportunities for you guys. So our vision for games, we're constantly improving our UI smart practices and tools for gaming advertisers to integrate it seamlessly into the TikTok native experience. We are a new platform, okay? We are there for like almost 2 years. So we are constantly improving our tools, our platform. So it means that the opportunity is massive as we go along with our product. If you don't know TikTok, we're the most downloaded app of 2020 beside March, thanks to COVID-19. Zoom kind of passed everyone on the charts. 2021 Q1, we're still dominating the charts for a non-gaming app, over 2 billion installs and popularity growth. So just, emphasizing the fact that we are here, we're very big, and the opportunity relies on. I'm going to quick intro to TikTok. I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek to how it looks like on the feed.
Whatever you do with slow motion, pick it up now, Millie. Get us now.
So I want to mention that just before I started, I was thinking how to actually present it. And I think it's the Tinder of content. If you like it, you keep watching. If you don't, you swipe up. Now let's deep dive into the content. So we're going to talk about the creative strategy and TikTok and Pungle native ad formats. So I'm going to speak about TikTok app and the in-feed, the For You feed. And I'm going to speak about Pungle. If you doesn't know, Pungle is the TikTok audience network, similar to Fan or similar to Iron Source network, but it's an SDK providing full solution of user acquisition and monetization via an SDK integration. The TikTok auction formats. So we have several formats, but every format it's a different use case. We have the brand formats, which is more for awareness and reach. And we have the For You feed. Basically, we call it the in-feed ad. This is where we gather all the performance campaigns into the mix of the user generated on the For You feed. A bit of how it looks like. So once you log into the app, you see it's a one screen. You are into the mix of the organic content. Very popular video format. It's a full screen up to 60 seconds. You can use 15 or 30 seconds with a lot of targeting capabilities. About Pungle, I don't know if anyone here knows about Pungle. It's again the audience network. I have a minute to present TikTok and not TikTok like Pungle, and I want you to enjoy the 1 minute. Oops, sorry. So the audience network, it's an SDK integration. Talking about the growth loop, you're acquiring users, then you want to monetize them. You know all the essence of a network. We have the video interstitial, it's system initiated with the native ads, playable ads, and rewarded video, which is an opt-in, giving the user a choice to watch a video to get an incentive. So just to understand that from the ads library of TikTok platform, you can target the in-feed ad, you can target Pango products. So creative smart tools. So how to maximize creativity using our smart tools. So creative is everything, and Nadav was talking about it for gaming in general and hyper casual even more. You have a lot of titles, you're targeting a lot of markets. And I know when you're talking about a new platform, you're always saying, how can I be native with TikTok? It's a new platform, I don't know. My design team are not aware, so how can I do that? So basically, I want to share with you how easy it can be to go native with TikTok. So native is easy, and I'm going to share a bit about what we have from our tools. I'm going to start with the latest launch that we have. It's the online video editor. It's a one-stop solution to edit at great speed and ease. Basically what I'm saying, that you don't need to waste the time of your design team. You can take raw assets, you can scrape your assets, you can have like a very, very easy or simple videos, and user acquisition manager can use the tool to get hundreds of alterations of video, upload into the ads library and create your campaigns on the platform. We have the smart text, basically to quick and edit subtitles and text that related to your gameplay. The analysis tool of the creative is basically to get the results, to see what is doing better in terms of IPMs and performance. Quick optimization, it's more of how we use the creative. So basically it's easy to create TikTok native ad style. We're using these tools. Estimated conversion rate, I mean, we're talking about serving ads to users on the platform, either on the in-feed ad when the users are there, like looking at the TikTok app, or on Pango. So what we're taking under consideration for your creative ad score, it's user behavior and interest, the markets you are targeting. Please be aware of, there is massive markets on TikTok that are very big and very different from our competitors. So very, very different metrics to look at. Optimization strategies, you know, there is the campaign budget, there is the ad group, number of creatives. We're taking under account the account history and the delivery methodology, and of course the creative performance. That's how to get your, let's call it your creative ad score. So we were talking a lot about what is creative and how to get native on TikTok. I wanted to show you a hyper casual organic user generated content, that's a UGC. And I want to show you that there is a massive community of hyper casual on TikTok. And what did we see is that we have users playing hyper casual games. They're filming each other, they're speaking to each other, they're using a voiceover and text, and they're using like popular videos or popular, let's say, voiceover. And it's a way to say, how can you take a simple video or a simple gameplay and make it native? So I'll show you two of the examples that I like.
Francis, why are you so sad? There's so much goodness in this world. I don't know, JP. Why do you have asthma? There's so much air in the world.
So yeah, using voiceover and text, being sarcastic, being funny. This one I'm going to show you that it's using like a popular, let's say, voiceover with TikTok, and see how it goes.
This video sent you this video, and if you got it, that means that they sent it to you who got sent the video by them.
The community is there, users loving hyper casual. So basically we wanted to show that user uploading content, they even tagging the developer at many of the times. Basically you can either contact these these creators, and you can use the content, maybe redo it, redesign it with easy tools, and get very, very simple native creative videos. What I wanted to show you is what Supersonic did, for example. They use simple and clean video. They uses our like voiceover texting, being cool on the sarcastic and the voiceover, just to show how can we go native. You can see the results, CVRs and overall CPMs below each of the videos. It's super, super cool. So let me get one here. Let's see Stacky Dash.
I found a game for buddies. You basically collect the tiles in the maze, and then you build a bridge. Okay, I need more tiles. Let's go back. Sound effects are so satisfying. Not enough again. It's really puzzling.
So you're getting the idea of getting a simple gameplay and making it native. Let's go to Going Balls.
I found a game for buddies. You basically control the ball with telekinesis. Or your finger. Whatever you can. Try not to fall. Looks like a ghost town down there. Nothing to do there alone. Jump.
So you can see there's over 20K spent on this creative, very, very good CVR and overall eCPM of $4. That's a joint effort between Supersonic and TikTok, and it was very, very helpful. So creative is king. Being in hyper casual, either if you're a powerhouse or a studio like Supersonic, or if you have a few games that you have, you have the idea of how to take it live with the several platforms, creative is important. On TikTok, we're asking our clients to have a frequent creative refreshment. We need to refresh our creative all the time. So as much as you refresh your creative, it can increase spend and install by 85%. It can increase if you do more than let's say 2, 3, or 5 creative within an ad group can help you increase spend and install in 100%. And all about valid video views on the platform, basically impact your IPMs to show good trend in CPIs to maximize revenues as you go with your US strategy. So we talk about how to leverage the TikTok tools, right? How to make a creative that will be native into the platform. I would like to emphasize that don't be afraid of the native, okay? I mean, we have the community, we have the users, we have the tools to help you. You don't need to waste time of your design team. Your design team can give you like 2, 3 snapshots of the game, and the tools can actually help you get it native as much as you can get on the platform. So we have the engaged user, we have the positive, fun environment, and I want to speak about how to launch with TikTok. So prototype is something that I hear a lot working with different studio houses, a lot with Supersonic. So prototype testing model. So how does our algorithm can help you evaluate or predict if it's going to be successful on TikTok? So a few metrics to take under consideration. Of course, it's creative. So again, we're taking a simple gameplay. You do the voiceover, you do the cutting yourself or whatever, but creative is everything on that start. Then we're going to A/B test user retention behavior, monetizing on ads. We're going to rely a lot on retention. Then we're going to A/B test markets and placement. Please remember, you can target the TikTok in-feed ad on the TikTok app, or you can target the different ad formats on Pango. If you are interested in China, a lot of the hyper casual running in China, we have the Ocean Engine platform. It's similar to the ads manager of TikTok. There you can target the Chinese TikTok, which is Douyin. Similar basic knowledge, similar methodologies. And of course, we take other signals under consideration to predict CPI trend, make it stable, making sure that once you get it all done, you close the loop, you understand, okay, I would like to go live. I would like to full launch with TikTok as a channel. So growing communities. So this is, we gathered this actually from App Annie. So we wanted to show the percentage of Supersonic game users using TikTok versus Facebook. So you can see the top titles from Supersonic 911, Arch Hero, like Bridge Race, Chatmaster, and Emoji Puzzle. You can see that in average, 65% of this gaming from the users of these apps are on TikTok. They have TikTok app, and let's say an average of 30%. So it's a growing community. While TikTok is growing globally as an app, we see that hyper casual is definitely there. So you want to leverage the momentum. You want to do user acquisition on the different platforms of TikTok, because the users are there and definitely something to explore. So life cycle and the honeymoon phase. So we know that the life cycle is short for hyper casual. You know, it's the nature of the business. During the honeymoon phase, we focus on high exposure and massive scale. We want to get, top rank in the app, Annie. You want to get the install as much as you can. What we're seeing, and you see it on the graph here, basically you see in red, it's the TikTok share of install. That's why I said SOY. And then App Annie installs. I want to mention that App Annie installs includes, I don't know if you're launching with all the SDK networks, with DSPs and the organic lift, but I wanted to show you that during the first week or even 2 weeks, when you launch 30 to 40% of share of installs are like handled by TikTok. So definitely something to rely on. Bid strategy, we're supporting a no bid when you first launch, making sure that you fulfill your budget with low CPAs. So making sure you keep it profitable on your side. And the benefit is the efficiency of the budget allocation with high lift. Soft launch timeline. So once you get your game going, your prototype is good, you see the good results and trend on TikTok. So you want to say, okay, so how do I soft launch with TikTok? So when you're speaking about how do I soft launch and where we're going to run is going to be on TikTok, on Pango, both. So what you're going to do, you want to plan the geos, plan the markets you're going to target, TikTok or Pango. Important to mention, we're live globally on TikTok, but Pango is only live within Southeast Asia, on APAC and China. So definitely you need to plan that before you start. Budgets, we're going to go to bid strategy. We're going to start with lowest cost bid type to show like a strong lift, of course, an install and making sure you're getting to the top 10. We support stable CPIs to maximize profits. Around budgets and campaign structure, so we suggest not to touch anything during the launch date. I mean, it can be a week, it can be 2 weeks. We can decide that when we launch in the actual game, but to get a lot of the data into the learning curve, you know, the models of optimization, ad types. So of course, you're starting on TikTok, you can target different ad formats on Pongo, but we ask people to push on playable ads because it delivers great increase in IPMs, and then it helps you to profit to maximize your margins when you're shrinking the CPIs. Post honeymoon phase, what's going to happen? The idea is to keep it stable scale. I mean, you don't want to shut down your game after the soft launch or the honeymoon phase. For example, I know that a lot of my clients and globally on TikTok, they say, yeah, we run with Facebook or with Snapchat for the first 2 weeks and then we move on. Supersonic are a good testimonial of how we can be an amazing source post honeymoon phase. We're going to A/B test low versus cost cap bidding just to keep it solid and growing within the platform. So now that we spoke about how we're going to do it and how to test your prototype and how to launch, we're going to speak a bit about practices and benchmark. You see the engagement rate on TikTok is relatively higher than other platforms. Everyone likes to be on TikTok. It keeps you happy and content. So it aligns with the numbers. So our UA tools, quickly go over that. So you can create your campaigns in advance and understand the structure. You're going to A/B test a lot, and Nadav spoke about it from terms of gaming. But again, on the platform, you want to A/B test everything. You have a lot of campaigns. You target a lot of markets. So you can use our bulk import to manage your campaigns in ad groups. If you can, we really encourage people to support API integration. First of all, it's easy on the UA manager. Second of all, it helps a lot with performance. Lowest cost bid is aiming to efficient on budget depleting and making sure you keep yourself profitable. The automatic creative optimization, basically the system knows to deliver to the higher rank of creative. The smart tools, so native is easy. We will help you how to create the right native content into your campaigns. AEO, more relevant to regular gaming clients, but we have the retention automation tool coming within the next, like the H2 of 2021 related to hyper-casual clients. So a bit about the structure, and also Nadav mentioned that people like hyper-casual clients would like to see the campaign structure. So the best practice for us, you are a game advertiser, so the account name will be the title you are going to launch, let's say Joint Clash, for example. The campaign placement is basically where you are going to run your campaigns. So again, you can from the ads manager of TikTok, you can either target the in-feed ad or the Pango ad formats. We have the Ocean Engine platform for those who are running in China. Hyper-casual is super strong in China, but from there you can target Douyin, the Chinese TikTok. So for example, you can say, I would like to target Pango, rewarded video, and my KPI is more downloads. Ad group, ad sets. So you're going to A/B test different targeting capabilities. I want to do an ad group by markets, or you can do ad sets of creative by markets and languages. That's alongside with the video to increase IPMs and make it profitable when going along with the user acquisition efforts. How we deliver ads on our auction, pretty simple. Device request, mapping, the ad formats, the targeting, the budget capping on the campaign, creative ranking goal, CPI, CPMs, you get a winner, and we fulfill the ad to the user. So just as a simple understanding of how we serve ads to our users. And the benchmarks, so, we gathered like a bit of the benchmarks for hyper-casual. This is an aggregated data of a lot of hyper-casual clients running both on TikTok and Pongo. So we gathered the top 3 geos for TikTok, and it's US, UK, and Germany. We break it per OS. We show you the trend of CPA and IPMs. I wanted to mention that Pango is super, super competitive, super strong. You can see Japan, Russia, and Korea, super competitive CPAs with very, very strong IPMs. So something to add into the mix of a user acquisition strategy when you're going live with TikTok or on Pango. So I covered a lot about what you can do on our platforms with our products, how we can get things moving when you first launch a new game. I want to give you a sneak peek to our roadmap. I know everyone is asking, we're a new platform, we're still growing as we go, but we want to give a quick sneak peek to what we're doing for H2. So work in progress, we have targeting recommendation tool, customized creative templates for hyper casual. So I showed you how users, the community on TikTok is like they're taking a video, they're filming each other, they're using a voiceover, a text, they're being sarcastic. So we're going to provide these templates to hyper casual clients, so you can have like ideas of how to have alterated and hundreds of videos as easy as native as it can get. Creative language, so it's from policy perspective. I know there is a lot of words that are very international, fun to play, easy, download, and so on. Not all of them are like allowed to be in English in all the markets in TikTok, so we're working to get that approved globally. Around June, hopefully we're going to launch Pango within the tier 1 countries. It's a work in progress, cross fingers. It's going to give us a huge push for everyone doing user acquisition on the SDK. Q3, so I'm going to say that we're aligning with iOS 14.5. We're going to have a bundled solution on that. We're going to have the ad retention optimization tool and campaign budget optimization, like from competitors, just better. In Q4, we're going to focus on email and phone matching. If you are doing user acquisition on the TikTok app, we want to make sure that email and phone matching will going to help us with the lookalike and retargeting as much data as we can get on there. So it was a great covering. I mean, the solution and the growth path of hyper casual. I'm going to share a bit of my takeaways. So leverage the momentum with the fast growing hyper casual community on TikTok. The users are there, guys. So definitely you need to find a way to utilize TikTok as a channel. Going native is easy as making a TikTok. I mean, we have the tools, we have the ideas, we have the support teams to help you get it done. If you have a new game, you must partner up with the strong publishing house to explore TikTok. Supersonic made an amazing achievement with us along the years, so definitely someone to support. And creative is native, guys. Don't make ads, make TikTok. Thank you.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, Annie. That was great. I love TikTok, by the way, for whoever doesn't know. Awesome. We'll have some time for a Q&A now, and we have a lot of questions. We probably won't be able to answer all of them, so we'll also add our contact details later. Feel free to email us. But let's get started. We have one first question for Nadav, and it's actually a question that we get asked a lot, so it will be interesting to touch that. So we have a question from Sezai. Nadav, you talked a lot about balance between speed and perfection. Is there a general rule, like a thumb rule, for different subgenres for time spent on prototype before going through the initial test? Another question that you can answer maybe together from Berat. How do you get, or where do you get the statistics? For example, where can I reach which game theme is downloaded most in the past 4 months? What are the trends? Is there a website you can suggest?
Okay, so for the first question, in terms of time dedicated for prototype, so I would say that the initial prototype, the initial test, right, should be few levels only and shouldn't take more than a couple of days. If you are working on your prototype for 2-3 weeks before even the initial test, it might probably be too much. So I would invest a couple of days, few levels, and test the marketability. This is in this phase. And then on the second phase of balancing between perfection to speed on the phase before moving to soft launch, what we measure at Supersonic is not retention and playtime anymore. We are looking at it, but we are looking at APAPU. APAPU is average playtime per user or accumulated playtime per user, which is combining both the retention metrics and playtime metrics. We have our own goals for day 7. We want to see more than 1,600 seconds, which gives us a good probability for a good LTV. And once we get this, we are moving into the soft launch phase. As for the second question that was around where do we get the data from? So there are many places to get the data from the hyper casual, right? It's a very hot industry. There are several forums, several groups to follow. You can also, of course, have to follow the top charts to understand what's happening. I would also recommend to sign in for the Supersonic Super Stories. So once a month, every beginning of the month, we are releasing a super story, which part of it is summarizing hot trends that we are seeing and worth focus at. And of course, there are also paid tools, whether it's Sensor Tower or App Annie or many others, that also give you even more deeper data accumulated, installs per country, etc. But these are paid tools, so everyone picks his own style to follow the market trends. It can be either from free forums or getting data from the publisher, or from paying and taking professional tools that can give you the full picture of what's happening in the industry.
Amazing. Thank you. Annie, I have a questions for you. Here, we're a four-people studio with no budget for creatives. Can TikTok help us with creatives?
Very good question. So we talk about the tools, right? I mean, but let's say you're a small studio and then you have a simple gameplay and you don't know how to leverage that. So actually, TikTok offers TCM. It's the TikTok marketplace for creators, micro like influencer creators. Basically, you have creators that are very, very much oriented with the native experience. They have tons of followers. What they do usually, you go into the TCM. You choose, you kind of interact with local creators, and you get to negotiate on how much you would like to spend, what you would like to do, and basically they know how to create content that is relevant, very native. They can actually boost it from they can boost into an auction campaign the actual content and help you shrink your CPAs. And of course, it's cost efficient because it goes by what you choose and what it's a deal. You get with the creators. Some creators would like to get paid by a Starbucks gift card, or or in California oranges. So it's really up to you guys. But definitely the TCM is something we would like to leverage when you talk about cost efficient production for creative.
Super interesting and helpful. Thank you, Annie. Another question for Nadav. Let's see. So Nadav, here's a question from Barak. The fact that you share all the data in your live games platform also means that the developer will be the only responsible to optimize the LTV?
No, not at all. The goal of the live games platform is to share and give transparency and make it a joint effort. Of course, with Supersonic is staying super involved, can't be more involved than that, with a dedicated team to optimize LTV and the monetization side. We just believe that if we are joining forces as the developer of the game and as the publisher, which is very expert in monetization and everything, we'll get to a better outcome, but it doesn't mean that anything is becoming the developer mission only. It's a mutual effort by both of us, and this is how we achieve the best results so far together.
Amazing. Basically, we see it as a 50-50 partnership. Sorry. That's a good one. Annie, another question for you from Eugene. Testing on iOS on TikTok. A lot of developers go away from testing Facebook to testing on TikTok. What's the main difference? In what sense does it make sense to test hyper-casual games on iOS over TikTok?
So I heard a lot of the iOS within the questions, but iOS is going to change a lot. So I don't want to speak about the iOS versus Android, but in general, it's really up to the game, it's up to the market. It's a lot around what you're bringing from performance perspective. So I mean, testing hyper casual, I think, and Nadav can also speak on that. I mean, we're testing a lot for Supersonic about what can be a great potential. I think it's about, it goes along about the creative, about the strategy of the user acquisition. It's about the game itself, right? The genre, the subgenre. I mean, it's a lot to take into when we're talking about testing. Did I miss anything, Danny, on the question?
No, I think you answered it fully. Thank you, Annie.
Maybe to add to that, because I think it's a very interesting topic for everyone. And in general, we need to understand that in the prototyping phase, we usually are testing the marketability on one or two channels top, right? Either it's Facebook or TikTok or specific FBA network. Everyone is doing their own testing strategy. And once you are testing on a specific or one or two specific sources, and not all the 7, 8, 10 media sources you're going to use while growing the game, you are limited your understanding of the marketability, because we know that different games behave differently on different media sources. But it's always a balance between, from one end, we cannot in the prototyping phase test it on so many different sources and spend money and add mixed data. It makes everything much complicated. On the other hand, we want as much certainty as possible. So usually it's in the middle, right? And I understand that CPA fluctuates, and I agree with our CPIs. We don't feel that neither in TikTok or in Facebook or in Iron Source, there is a clear misalignment between the CPIs in the testing and what happens afterward. The opposite. So far, we've seen that there is quite a good alignment, even in the recent 2 weeks, between what we see in the prototyping phase and then what we see in the scale phase. And what we try to do is we try to taste a bit of each media source to really understand the marketability power. But again, it's also a balancing between investment and how accurate are you.
I want to add something because it is an actual good topic, but what Nadav is saying, and I feel very much connected. Keep in mind that, for example, Facebook or Google or any other platform, been around for a long time. So whatever didn't work for you on Facebook might be a gold mine on TikTok, right? So when I'm talking about the genres you're testing, the actual games, and basically even markets. Some people tell me, hey, I tried Saudi Arabia on Facebook. It's really small. It doesn't work for me. But on TikTok, it's massive. The competition is really low. And then profits are like rocketing from the advertiser perspective. So I'm just saying that in general, like Nadav is saying, you need to try as much as you can. You need to focus your strategy on testing. But definitely what's not working on other platforms can be a gold mine on TikTok.
For sure. Thank you, guys. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat. There's one question, I guess you, let's see. Annie, for you. Does or will TikTok support playable ads?
So yeah, we support playable ads at this time with Pongo, of course, with the market that are available, but we are beta testing playable ads to be running on the For You feed. We see great results so far, but we're going to keep updating everyone once this is in.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We have many more questions actually, but we don't have more time. So feel free to contact us. Nadav will show the contact us page very, very soon. Feel free to also email me with some of your game pitches and builds before the Supersonic Superstar competition. Don't forget, you have a month. And thank you very much, Annie and Nadav, for the amazing presentations. Looking forward to see all of you guys in our next event. Thanks a lot. That was really, really fun.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.